is difficult for people to imagine living in a place that is totally different from the one in which they currently live. What will the new place be like? Revelation 21 uses figurative language to describe the brilliant new city God will create. The Israelites of old, along with all of God's people down through the ages, longed for the coming time when we will live in complete eternal peace. The New Jerusalem was predicted even before the exile ended. Devout Jews prayed regularly for the restoration of Jerusalem. Eventually, the idea of New Jerusalem came to symbolize hope for the Jewish nation. This new city would be a place built by God, where the righteous would dwell with him in perfect peace forever. When speaking of a city, we are speaking not only of the physical infrastructure, but also the people who dwell in that city. In this sense, the new holy city of Jerusalem is symbolic of the church as the redeemed bride of Christ. And that brings us to our key verse, which reads, "The wall of the city had 12 foundation stones, and on them were written the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb." Revelation chapter 21, verse 14. In the Spirit, John had been taken to the wilderness to see the great harlot. But now he is taken to a great and high mountain to have an unobstructed view of the great city, namely the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. This is similar to how Ezekiel is brought up to a very high mountain in his temple, or his vision of a restored Jerusalem and temple. Both the body of believers and the city are referred to as the bride, the Lamb's wife. The fact is, in a sense, they are significantly alike. The holy Jerusalem is a city out of heaven. It is not heaven, but it possesses the features of heaven. It is the dwelling place of the resurrected bodies of the church, or the redeemed bride, God and Christ. The prepared bride, that is the holy city, is a structure laid out as a city to provide a permanent dwelling place for the redeemed bride, that is the church. Another structure in the image of God. One is in the form of a city, while the other is in human form, and both bear the presence of God. Jesus promised to prepare a place for his followers in his Father's house. This city is undoubtedly the promised prepared place for the redeemed bride. John's attention was drawn to the light of the city, whereby there was no darkness. The city housed the glory of God so much that its illumination was like a most precious stone. In the attempt to put the preciousness into words, he writes that it's like a jasper stone. Next to its brightness, John is struck by the details of the city's walls. He notes its height and thickness and the security provided thereby. He counts and makes note of the number of gates, each guarded by an angel, in that each gate is inscribed with the names of the 12 tribes. And thirdly, John's attention was captured by the actions of the angel. The angel wasn't just taking John on a tour, but was measuring the city as they walked about it. The cubic dimensions of the city are reminiscent of a key part of previous temple architecture, the Holy of Holies. As we can see from the tabernacles and from the temple's measurements, God has been expanding his presence among humanity since the beginning. Now, in the church age, we are truly made one with Christ. The entire city, which is the church, experiences the presence of God. None of the faithful are excluded from this most holy place. None have to travel to a specific spot to know him. The entire city is filled with God's presence. And lastly, John remarks on the city streets, which are pure gold, reminding John's audience of the brightness of God. So here's our lesson. The heavenly city had 12 gates that were always open. This image serves as a reminder of God's desire for everyone to come into his presence and have a relationship with him. As we strive to build our lives on a solid foundation, let us not forget to reach out to someone else and let him or her know that God is welcoming them to also come into his presence with open arms. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing to iLights. Heavenly Father, fill our hearts with what we truly desire, for who we truly seek is you.